Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't see you there. I was just, solving world hunger and finding the cure for cancer. But since you're here now, we can go ahead and get started talking about why I love media so much. And, I really, really do. I'm kind of obsessed. It's getting to be kind of embarrassing, especially when my friends leave me on the sidewalk when I see really cool advertisements. But it's okay because I love media that much. Honestly, though, I think what really enthralls me is that there's just so many different directions to go in. And there's so much potential for everything, for even different ad campaigns, like on the creative side. There's so many different ways an advertising can go, and it just depends on who's working on it and who the client is and who the consumer is, and all these little pieces just fit together. And if you read my application, you know that I'm probably a Sudoku fan. I'm also obsessed with that. I love putting puzzles together, and to me, advertising is one of the biggest puzzles that you can think of. And there's just so many things that you have to put together that have to fit perfectly in order to get that potential consumer to come in and buy your product. And I love that. Especially media, there's so much reach potential for all the target consumers out there. And if you think about where advertising started, it was TV commercials. And that, it was simple advertisement, and yeah, they were kind of boring, and we just won't go into how terrible those jingles were. But back then, that was something new. That was something awesome, and it was attention grabbing, and it worked. And now you have advertisements on sewer drains and, interactive billboards on walls, and everything is just so new and so crazy. And, one of the drawbacks is that because there's so much of it, people aren't looking at it as much anymore. And they're not stopping and saying, like, wow, that's actually really remarkable. And that's what I want people to go back to. I want people to start looking at advertisements again and saying those things, wow, that's awesome. I can't believe they did that. Or, wow, that I would have thought to put an ad, on that space. That's what I want it to be again. And I want it to evolve from what it is now, which is still really great, still thinking outside the box, but going into something totally different that no one expects. And so, that can even go just from simple ideas like putting a Charmin ad on the other side of a toilet seat. Sounds weird, but hey, if you're in the bathroom and you open up a toilet seat and see Charmin, you're going to remember that forever. And every time you look at a toilet, you're going to think Charmin. And maybe that'll click when you're, buying your toilet paper. Or on an airplane, for the first class people who get to lie all the way back in their chairs, sometimes when they're lying all the way back, where else are they going to look except for the TV or the ceiling? So when they're looking at a ceiling, put an Advil ad, because everyone gets headaches when they're on planes. So when you think of a plane or you think of getting a headache, you're going to go, oh my gosh, before I get on that plane, I need to buy Advil. Who knows if it's actually going to work? But it's so cool to me that you can think of doing stuff like that, and companies can actually execute those ideas. And it's a complete guessing game, and you can just go back and forth and see if it works. And if it does, awesome. If it doesn't, go back to the drawing board and try something totally different. And I love that. And it's kind of daunting to me right now that, even as a college student, it's hard to keep up with what everyone else is doing. And that's something that you're always going to have to face in the advertising world. It's so hard to be one step ahead. But, like social media, when I got a MySpace and I was like, oh, this is awesome. And then everyone was like, oh, no, but I got a Twitter. And I was like, okay, all right, okay. So I got a Twitter. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm finally getting the hang of this. And then, my sister got a LinkedIn. And I was like, oh, okay, crap. So I got a LinkedIn. I'm getting all of it done. And they're all so cool and they're all so unique. But, it's hard to get to that step and feel like you're there, like you're doing something that's ahead of everyone else. But I think, with the right people, the right time, and what you're doing, that can happen. And it's so cool when you're the person that can say, oh yeah, that happened. I was the first one to do that. Yeah, I was thinking ahead of everyone else out there, and we did this. And that's amazing to me. And, I know it's a guessing game, and there's probably a lot of things about advertising that are so, that are just torturing to the people working on it, because even campaigns, you work on it and work on it and work on it, and maybe the client hates it. But you know what? It's a guessing game that I am ready to get out there and try, and I can't think of any place else better for me to go than the Texas Media Sequence, and I would love a chance to be able to do that. So thank you so much for this opportunity to share with you my weird, quirky self in my application and my video. And over and out.